And we welcome you back to NewsNet5.com, our continuing coverage of the LeBron James decision to leave the city of Cleveland for the city of Miami. South Beach is headed. It's hard to believe. We had heard rumors about this all day, Andy Baskin, but we still deep in our hearts as Clevelanders, you kind of hope that it wasn't true.
No, and we had hoped that wasn't going to happen. And, there were reports late this afternoon that maybe he was going to stay, and the general managers across the league were saying that they can't believe he said. I mean, he left $30 million on the table to go play for the Miami Heat. I think, the perspective isn't maybe about basketball, and the theme was it's more than a player.com, and that's what the Cavs felt. I don't know what Dan Gilbert could have possibly done to keep him here. He built him a new facility. They rebuilt the Q. He has spent tireless dollars and energy not only for the Cavs, but for our community as well. And Dan keeps pumping money in. He has showed that he's willing to go over the cap. And I don't know how LeBron could not see that. And the other thing that drives me nuts is that, people keep saying, well, the Cavaliers are not a good basketball team. This team won more games than any team in the NBA. Were they not a good basketball team in the finals? Yeah, or in the playoffs this year? Absolutely. They didn't do what people expected. Mike Brown paid the price for that. They brought in a coach that we feel, or that the Cavaliers probably feel, or Cavs fans feel, was a guy that was going to be able to turn things around. Byron Scott is a guy that's won championships and understood things. So, it's really interesting the way it played out, and to watch LeBron James tonight, it's almost like he was oblivious to the fact that he ever lived in Akron or Cleveland, because the repercussions that are coming, he can't come back to Cleveland. He can't.
You saw those pictures of from News Channel 5 that were airing on ESPN of the burning jerseys, and he said, I can't get into that right now. He hopes that the Cavs fans will follow him, and it seems like a certain disconnect.
Well, I mean, there's the talk that he had said, and it's the quote that I'll always remember about LeBron James. He said, I am a great leader. Well, great leaders stay to finish the battle. And I'm sure that's what folks said about Benedict Arnold.
Don't you feel that there was a sense of, we talk about LeBron as the king, but there was a certain abdication here today. He admitted to, in a sense, by, take a look at live pictures downtown Cleveland. It's probably one of the last few days that we'll be seeing this particular Nike 10-story billboard across the street from the Q, because, he's the all-time leader in sports points scored for the Cavaliers, but it's a everyday reminder of what we lost and what we had in seeing him.
It's interesting that the police are out there right now. They're probably protecting that, and that should be gone quickly, because the fact of the matter is LeBron James does not belong to Cleveland. It's over. He's gone. We'll see you.
But I was saying, in abdicating his throne almost, is he admitting that, hey, I can't do this by myself. I tried. I can't. I'm not the guy I thought I was or you thought I was.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's hear a little bit more from LeBron James. We'll talk about that in a second.
This fall, man, this is very tough. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning?
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Why?
Like I said before, I feel like it's going to give me the best opportunity to win, and to win for multiple years. And not only just to win in the regular season, or just to win 5 games in a row or 3 games in a row. I want to be able to win championships, and I feel like I can compete down there.
Was it always in your plan to go and play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. To say it was always in my plans, I can't say it was always in my plans, because I never thought it was possible. But the things that the Miami Heat franchise have done to be able to free up cap space and to be able to put themselves in a position this summer to have all 3 of us, it was hard to turn down. I mean, those are 2 great players, 2 of the greatest players that we have in this game today. And, you add me, we're going to be a really good team.
The 3 of you will share now the spotlight and the limelight. And in many ways, you're going to Dwayne Wade's team. He's been in Miami. He's won a championship. How do you think you'll be able to fit in and possibly not be the headliner all the time?
Well, for me, it's not about sharing. It's about everybody having their own spotlight and then just doing what's best for the team. At this point, D. Wade he's the unselfish guy here. To be able to have Chris Bosh and then LeBron James to welcome us to his team, it's not about an individual here. Because if that was the case, D. Wade wouldn't have asked us to join him, or we wouldn't have asked him if it was okay to come down there. It's not about individuals. It's about a team, and that's what this game is about.
How do you explain this to the people in Cleveland?
mean, it's heartfelt for me. It's hard to explain, but at the same time, my heart in the 7 years that I've gave to that franchise, to that city, it was everything.
He's essentially saying, hey, I tried.
Well, there are fans that will hear the end of that soundbite and say that he didn't give everything, that he didn't do it in Game 5, especially in NBA playoffs, and he didn't deliver. He didn't win the championship here that we thought he was. When they came here, when LeBron first came here, this team was a 17-win team, and he really turned things around. LeBron James owes Cleveland nothing. There's nothing. But the fact is that they sold out that arena every night, that Dan Gilbert did everything he possibly could to keep him here, and he left $30 million on the table. This isn't Jim Thome, this isn't Manny Ramirez, and this isn't Albert Bell. Those guys all left for more money, and truthfully, with the exception of Jim Thome, Joe Thome was the only guy that I thought that really felt like he was a Clevelander at that point. Manny was all over the place, and Albert, we all knew Albert was Albert,
Sure.
But now that you talk about LeBron James, it's amazing to me that he thinks in the way he does. I am a great leader. He says things like that. So, there is a little sour grapes. And LeBron had to do what he had to do. It is show business. It is not show friends.
We have cameras all throughout Northeast Ohio tonight, checking in on your reaction as you got the news here this evening. And we were out at the Rocky River, Harry Buffalo, and you see the shot in Lakewood as on Detroit Avenue there. As fans got the news, they lit up the LeBron James T-shirts and jerseys. They had hoped to replace them next year with a number 6 Cavaliers jersey, but it wasn't to be. They're witness to this right now. They're a witness to something that they thought they would never see, an hour special dissing them in a sense.
Well, that's the way it kind of feels. It's funny because there was another guy that came out with a T-shirt today that said "Quitless," I think, or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see the way fans react. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of hostility right now. Fans are mad. We live in a city where the Browns left and all the advertising was gone and seats got taken out. And, this is the kind of mentality that we have here because we haven't won a championship in '64. And we thought he was the chosen one. And it's not like we're the ones that came up with that name. He liked it and he lived with it. And he called himself the king. He called himself the chosen one. And, it's all very interesting tonight. But LeBron James is not a Cavalier. That's the bottom line. I feel
like it's November of 1995 and Art Modell went on national television to say, hey, Baltimore, you're the winner.
Yeah.
Feel good for me. No.
It's exactly
wasn't
what it feels. No, and Albert Bell, the same thing when Albert Bell had his press conference as well. So.
Curtis Jackson has been out and about with the fans here this evening, and he joins us live from downtown Cleveland. And Curtis, what was the mood in the room when the news came down?
Oh, boy. It was just absolute anger, grief. If it is true that grief goes in stages, I think a lot of people came in here in denial. And then right after that decision, they moved right into anger. As a matter of fact, we started hearing chants for the Browns. We started hearing calls to turn off the special and flip to the Indians game. And then not long after that, you saw the shot earlier, everybody moved into the parking lot to burn those Please Stay LBJ T-shirts. Now, this event here was sponsored by the organization Please Stay LBJ. Many of them had come in here believing that there was no way that LeBron would embarrass the city on national television, that they just thought that they had proven their loyalty to him and that he was going to show his loyalty to the fans in return. Of course, that did not happen. Right away, though, people started tearing up the placards here to say more than a player. This one is torn in a very perhaps poignant place. You can see that it just says now a player. And that is what LeBron James has become to everyone here and perhaps everyone in this city. He is just another player. He has gone from being a king to a tyrant. And many people simply cannot understand why he would do it this way. Walking around the room, I talked to a few people, and, they just said, well, maybe he's going to stay with us. Maybe he's going to stick around. They didn't want to believe the early reports that he was headed to Miami. They just couldn't fathom that happening. And then when it did, to just see the looks on everyone's faces, it was painful to watch. It truly was painful to watch. You saw people here just with looks of disbelief. We saw people here who suddenly started crying and then again immediately got angry, marched right out in the parking lot and burned those T-shirts. And I can only imagine that will be the first of many protests to come. So that pretty much sums up the atmosphere here. People, as you can see right now, you take a look around, they are now they've moved on to baseball. Many of them are looking forward to the Browns. It's interesting. The moment that we heard that LeBron was leaving, we heard a lot of people in here start chanting the name, mentioning the name Josh Cribbs. Perhaps he is now the chosen one for the city of Cleveland. Someone who has stood by the city, someone who has stood by the state, who has shown a commitment to the fans and a belief that this city is where he wants to be and that there will be a championship here in Cleveland at some point. I honestly, personally speaking, I believe that he was going to stay. I just couldn't accept the idea that this would be a situation where he would embarrass the city on national television. And really, let's just be honest, that's what's happened. You know, you could have done this in a press release and then perhaps done some sort of press conference later on, a la Amari Stoudemire or any other free agent who has signed in the last few days. But to do it this way, and to give the city a new moniker, the decision, you know, the drive, the shot, the fumble, and now the decision, it just is a slap in the face, to be quite honest, an absolute slap in the face.
And live from the Harry Buffalo in Lakewood tonight. We'll check back in with you a little bit later. And it is a slap in the face in many respects to many fans out there and to the city that is so hungry for sports championship. And we felt we were so close. This was the team that we look for every year.
Well, I mean, we became accustomed to winning with the Cavaliers, and it became a great thing. You know, things go in trends in this city, and the Indians had their trend in the 90s, and the Cavaliers were in a lull after the miracle of Richfield until they moved back downtown, and they still struggle. But when Dan Gilbert came in as owner and LeBron James came in via the lottery, you know, it changed things for this town. It changed it. It made it a basketball town. We all knew that there's a little bit of basketball sense here. We all know it's a football town first, and perhaps we'll see. But, I mean, fans have been frustrated with LeBron over Yankees hats. They've been frustrated with him over Dallas Cowboys, you know, remarks. There are story after story after story. But the one thing that I heard over and over from people that I respect and from NBA insiders, he has tarnished his brand tonight. And that is one of the big things that's happened because, I mean, this isn't just Cleveland. New York feels the same way. Chicago feels the same way. It's not like he called the Bulls and said, you're out of the running. You know, like when you're trying to interview someone, and we see this all the time in college football, we'll hear there's 3 candidates for the job. They're all big candidates. And a school will let a team just kind of balance their way out. They'll say to the coach, they'll say, you know, look, you're not going to get the job. And then they'll say, oh, I pulled my name from the hat. Right. And that's the classy way to do it. By not telling anybody, and I know the Cavs didn't hear anything tonight, and they probably heard it on TV tonight as well, that, you know, he didn't even say it. I mean, 7 years, that's the way you treated your former employer? At least you could do, most people give 2 weeks notice. You know, he didn't even get 10 seconds notice.
Didn't even give him a
to
call.
a franchise that spent millions on him.
All right, we want to hear more from LeBron and what he had to say this evening. Here's a little bit more of that.
LeBron, first, congratulations on making your decision. Let's go back to the point where you talked about this being a relief. How heavy has this whole thing been the last few weeks?
It's been a huge, it's been heavy on me a lot because I know a lot of people look up to me. I know what I've done for the city of Cleveland, for that area, what I've done for that franchise and all my teammates. First of all, I want to say thanks to the whole organization, all the way starting from Gordon Gunn to Paxson being there. You know, Dan Gilbert to Coach Mike Brown to Paul Silas and all my teammates that I've had over the years. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss all of them because we had something that was very special and things that you can't, at the end of the day, substitute out.
When we last heard you talk publicly a few weeks ago, you said Cleveland had the edge. When you looked at the Cavaliers, LeBron, and took stock of the situation there, obviously something came up short. Something was lacking. What was lacking in your mind?
No, I don't even see it as something was lacking in Cleveland. Like I said, I respect that franchise and everything that they've done for my friends and family and myself as an individual, and I try to give it back to them every night. You know, my blood, sweat, and tears every night. I try to play hard for them, be the best basketball player I could be on and off the court. I just think that the attraction in Miami with being alongside Dwayne Wade and being alongside Chris Bosh and being part of that organization and with the other guys that's going to come in, I think it's a new challenge for myself.
Did you have a chance to talk to Dan Gilbert at all in the last few days and even since making the decision?
No, I haven't. I really haven't spoke to anyone besides, You know, my team, I didn't speak to any teams, any players. You know, I just want to kind of just soak it in and just make sure that I was making the right decision for no one else but myself.
LeBron, you've enjoyed overwhelmingly such great public relations in your entire career, and you're cheered in a whole lot of opposing buildings. This is probably the first time, and you heard that reaction in Cleveland, where you're getting some backlash, and that could continue for a while, especially when you're joining a superpower of a team, a 1927 Yankees kind of team that's going to get booed. How do you feel about that? Because that's going to be a little transition, a little different for you.
Well, absolutely. I know it's going to be a transition. You know, we're going to have to go back there twice a year, and hopefully the fans will be respectful. But at the same time, I don't expect that to be. But I gave a lot to that organization, my talents, my 7 years, and I try to take them places where they have never been before. And you know, but it's going to be a challenge going there and playing and being on the other end, being on the other side of the court, going into the visitor locker room, you know, pulling in a tunnel in a bus instead of in my own car, and you know, looking courtside and not seeing my family sitting courtside seats and everything. It's a lot of mixed emotions because of what I was able to build there in my 7 years, like I said, from being an 18-year-old kid to a 25-year-old man.
And LeBron James weighing in tonight on the impact on Cleveland and his hometown of his decision to leave Cleveland for the city of Miami and Miami Heat. Quicken Loans Arena, an arena that has seen a sellout every night this past year, 20,562, a record that will likely quickly fall this year without the presence of LeBron downtown. And it will be felt impacted by all the businesses and all those surrounding the queue as well here this evening. I want to thank you for joining us on our webcast here this evening. This is Newsnet5.com here in the News Channel 5 newsroom. This place has been literally on fire tonight with a number of people that have been tuning in, turning to Newsnet 5 like you for news and information about what is happening. We had a web chat going on. And Mike, how many people do we have on the chat?
We have, right now, we've recorded about 1,800 people in our live chat. It's been pretty successful. A lot of people chiming in, letting us know what they think. They just want to have a venue to voice their opinion. And it's going pretty well so far. Comparatively, how does that rate? Is this unlike anything we've seen in recent time? Or I would say there's a pretty big surge. There's a lot of interest. People just, it compares to a big news story, and that's what this is. Certainly a lot of Clevelanders, a lot of people in Northeast Ohio wanted to tell us what they thought, and this is the place they're going. I'm seeing the word traitor a lot. I'm seeing, obviously, a lot of sense of disbelief on the part of the people that are writing in. Sure. I mean, a lot of people are upset. They expected a different outcome, and they didn't get what they wanted, and certainly this is not some people say this is a sad day for Cleveland. It is indeed. Thank you, Mike. I'd like to get back to work. I know you got a lot of things to do here. May 22nd, 2003. I remember it like it was yesterday because my son was born the day before, and I was stuck in a maternity ward hospital room down at University Hospitals. And I remember this night because as my wife and I sat in the hospital room that evening, we were glued to the television because what it was on TV was the NBA draft lottery. And this was the night that Cleveland was going to know whether or not they tank of the season that essentially had happened would be rewarded in the sense with the lottery balls falling in Gordon Gunn's favor and us getting LeBron James. And when those balls fell and we learned that we had LeBron James, even in the hospital maternity ward, you could hear the din throughout the floor, the crowd roaring in a sense in this hospital. And that was just a sense of how we all felt. And we thought we were going to feel that elation again tonight. And that elation has in turn changed to frustration. Recently, Leon Bibb had a chance to look back on the rise of LeBron, starting with that night, May 22nd of 2003.
In many ways, Cleveland's hope to build an NBA team to make a real run for a championship was in the 2003 drawing. Worst record team in the league gets first draft pick. Hopes were on LeBron James. Well, it marked the beginning, again, for Cleveland basketball. The prediction was LeBron James would help fill up Cleveland's arena. He was the hometown kid from Akron, who as a high schooler played above his chronological age. Above the rim, too. So when LeBron James changed from a high school uniform to one of the Cleveland Cavs, there came new Cavs life.
This is a dream come true for me. You know, it could have been any team. I'm happy it's the Cavs. I'm so glad it's the Cavs. But, you know, it's a dream come true for me. I've always wanted to be a, NBA player and be in the NBA draft.
think it's one of the greatest events in the history of the franchise. When you think about draft picks, and we've had Austin Carr at number 1, Brad Doherty, who was a great number 1 pick, but since then we haven't had, and that was 86, so we haven't had a first-round pick. We haven't even had a pick in the top 5 since 86, so it's huge in that regard, and then it's particularly big because it's a hometown guy.
In 2007, LeBron and company pushed into the NBA Finals, facing San Antonio. We tasted a championship, but though they are round, basketballs sometimes have strange ways of bouncing. The ball bounced San Antonio's way. The trophy model in Cleveland was just a model.
I wish they would leave it up for a couple of more days. I love it. I think it's nice. It brings a lot to our city.
Still, there had been and is today much to celebrate.
First of all, we got national exposure. We had all the people that came into town and brought a lot of money to this town.
In the 14 years that this place has been here, the Indians have taken us to 2 World Series, and now the Cavs have taken us to the final. This facility really has paid off big time, I think, for the city of Cleveland.
Indeed, LeBron and the Cavs generate money for Cleveland. For the 2007 run for championship season, economic impact tied to the Cavs games totaled $123 million. Let's keep that relationship going. Hope is he stays with the Cavs. Cleveland loves him, as no other place will. Home, sweet home. So LeBron, there's no place like home. Leon Bibb, News Channel 5.
But according to LeBron James, there is. It is South Beach, and he is headed to the Miami Heat. The decision made a little bit earlier tonight on the hour-long television special on ESPN. LeBron James, the decision was to leave the city of Cleveland. A decision that a couple of days ago looked like it was going to come down between the city of Cleveland and Chicago. They were the last 2 teams to meet with LeBron downtown in Cleveland on Saturday, and it felt like that was for a reason, that it was going to be the combination of Noah and Rose and later Boozer out in Chicago versus what we were able to put together here in Cleveland. And that was when they were hoping to get a sign and trade deal with Bosch. That wasn't to be. And then obviously it came down to late this morning, word coming that indeed it would be going to Miami, and LeBron James confirming that tonight on the ESPN special. Here's a little bit more about what he had to say.
You think if you go on and win a championship or even several in Miami, will it feel as sweet as it would have been if you had been able to win one at home?
Well, I think championships are championships. And you can't look at it as saying, well, if I would have did it somewhere else, it would have been sweeter. Because, it's a championship. And a lot of people don't get there. And you can't, when you get to that point and you win a championship, you can't say, wow, I wish I would have did it somewhere else. That makes no sense, because you put a lot of hard work into it to get into that point, and I have not got there yet. But I'm going to do everything in my power to try to lead that Miami franchise to a second one.
I want to ask you about a couple of other cities, places that you considered and places that were so passionate about trying to get you and while they were recruiting you. Were you ever, LeBron, as attracted to New York, to Madison Square Garden, to the whole mecca of basketball, to Wall Street and Madison Avenue, as it appeared to outsiders that you were?
Well, I think I was attracted to a lot of cities, and that's why I brought the 6 teams in that I felt like I was attracted to most. And that was Los Angeles, the Clippers, the Bulls, the Nets, and Miami, and also Cleveland. I was attracted to all those cities, and that's why I had that process. But it ultimately came down to where I felt like I can win the most, and also where I was going to be happy for the most part with my friends and my family.
I want to ask you quickly about Chicago, too. It was sort of commonly known your love of the playing styles of Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, who play for the Bulls. When you look at that roster and those players, what did you see, and what happened there as you were making that evaluation?
Well, it's great talent. Derrick Rose is one of the best point guards that we have in our league right now at age 21, and Joakim Noah is one of those players that you can't substitute for. We don't have a lot of those guys, and with the addition of Carlos Boozer, they're going to be a really good team. They got some great pieces. They got a great coach, and Coach Thibodeau, that I believe when I had my meeting with him, was a great guy. I want to give a lot of thanks to the Miami Heat organization, Mickey Erickson and Nick Erickson, Coach Spoelstra, and Pat for coming down and and giving me their presentation and making me feel like I could be a part of their family. So, Pat has been there. He's coached a winning championship multiple times. He's played the game. He understands what it takes to be a championship team, the DNA of a championship team. And he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that we compete for championships for years to come. I mean, for multiple years to come. This won't be just no one and out thing.
Tough words to listen to for Cavaliers fans here this evening.